You have been lied to your entire life. You probably already knew that, because, I mean, look around you. Clearly, nothing but lies. It's all lies. And I've got one more bit of lies for you, because society is just lies. That pumpkin you buy to make pies and cheesecakes with every autumn, pumpkin is actually in quotes, and has an asterisk. One that leads down to a comment saying, "We're lying to you, and yes, we can legally do that." The majority of canned and cartoned pumpkin puree isn't even pumpkin. At least not entirely, in some cases. But in other cases, the factory making it could very well have never processed a pumpkin in its entire existence. And fun fact, even if it says 100% pumpkin right on it, it doesn't have to be.
Well, that's all marketing, clearly. The fine print and legal labeling with the nutrition facts and ingredients clearly have to tell the truth.
No, they can still say pumpkin there, even if the person putting all of the stuff in the can has never seen pumpkin in their life. So what gives? Because normally when society discovers a lie like this, they flip. Remember when people found out that Subway's foot-long sub sandwiches were only 11 inches? That's still pretty close. I mean, 11, 12? But people died because of those riots. I may be exaggerating a bit, but no pumpkin at all. And they're still allowed to say that it's entirely pumpkin. What gives? Well, as it turns out, the Food and Drug Administration, which is who make all of the rules and laws about food and stuff in the US, is very lenient when it comes to the definition of a pumpkin. For example, this is a pumpkin, clearly. But legally speaking, you can get away with calling this a pumpkin, and this, and this, and this, and this. None of those are pumpkins! The most popular brand of canned pumpkin is Libby's, and its pumpkin is actually Dickinson squash, which for context is significantly closer in relation to the butternut squash than to the pumpkin, and it's not a pumpkin. And most other brands tend to stick to just butternut squash, or Hubbard squash, or even Golden Delicious. Yeah! Apples! No, not apples. They're just squash that have the same name. I'm just messing with you. But legally speaking, your pumpkin puree can be marketed and labeled as such, even though it's purely 100% butternut squash. And that's completely legal. Ain't America great? But why would this be the case? Well, it comes down to marketing, really. Pumpkins are not... They're not good. No, really, they tended to be gross. Many companies found out that the more and more they cut the pumpkin with other squashes, the better and better their customers liked it. And if your competition gets more business because of cutting the pumpkin, well, all the other companies are going to do so also. So then they just keep upping and upping the butternut and lowering the pumpkin content until eventually there wasn't any pumpkin left. It's just entirely butternut squash then. Clearly then, people don't like pumpkin in their pumpkin pies. They like butternut squash in their pies, but people often don't like being told that there's butternut in their pie. It's just not as appetizing of a name, I suppose.
This pie is delicious. Whatever did you put in it?
Nut.
Really though, it's basically just because the name pumpkin pie is basically synonymous with autumn and Thanksgiving and Christmas. You just can't go around selling butternut squash puree and expect it to sell just as well as your pumpkin puree, now can you? And the pumpkin companies knew this. So during this process of de-pumpkinifying pumpkin puree, they got the FDA to allow them to keep labeling it as pumpkin, as after all, it's in the best interest of the companies wanting to keep on selling, and of the people who are too stupid to realize that they've been eating butternut squash all this time and then get sad when suddenly they can't find any good tasting pumpkin puree in the store anymore. Suddenly all the pumpkin is gross and now there's just butternut squash that tastes good? Ew, no one wants butternut squash, they want pumpkin pie. It's a classic. So the laws were left loose on purpose to appease both the companies from having a loss in sales and from having unhappy customers, and to appease those very same customers from their own stupid general publicness. Wow, just wow. And you just know that if they are legally able to lie about this, what else is the food industry allowed to lie about, huh? Well, thankfully on this channel, we'll hopefully keep on continuing to uncover more and more. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Also, I left my favorite pumpkin cheesecake recipe in the description. I'm gonna go make some. Dots.